You and I were having a little light debate over the fact of whether he should be able to finish the season. I feel like once you take a job somewhere else, you can't finish the season. Welcome to episode 297 of Empty the Bench here on the Empty the Bench podcast network, presented by Playback. He's Zain Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media for Empty the Bench at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Sports. Follow the Empty the Bench network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, as we continue to climb now way over the 1,000 subscriber mark, as we look to hit our 4,000 watch hour goal on YouTube. We are now over 1,800 watch hours on YouTube. So please help us hit our goals of 3,000 and 4,000 watch hours. If you can't watch on the video side, listen to Empty the Bench wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, you know the deal. We're all on there. Empty the Bench is presented by Playback, playback.tv/ETB Network. As we continue to watch NBA regular season, NFL Red Zone, and some other stuff along the way as well. Make sure you join our community over there. Okay, we got a lot to get to. Not as much as last week, but we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on college football coaching moves this week.
Yeah, which is something that, well, I'm sure this is something that when you thought, you would take over the show and do it with me, you probably weren't suspecting to be talking about as much college football as you have, right?
Well, I like it. I just now I've come to follow the headlines a little bit more succinctly.
Well, Nick, to be fair, the headlines are crazy and they never end. So I guess welcome to the unofficial party, if you will.
Yeah. So we'll get into some college football coaching moves because there's a ton. We'll get to the fall.
There's so many that there might be more moves that will break in the middle of the show. We have no idea.
I mean, if you follow On3, which is one of the biggest college football content creations or content sites, they're breaking news before we came in here to start the show. Yeah. So we'll get into all those moves. We'll get into Lane Kiffin. He's obviously the big nail in the coffin, so to speak, when it comes to these moves. We'll talk about some other coaching hirings and coaching firings. And by the way, I can stand on my soapbox and say I was right about something for a certain coaching situation I called, I think 1 or 2 months ago, at least.
Yeah, you called it before. Let's just say this. You called it before any of the national outlets picked up steam on this whatsoever.
That's Nick getting a college football coaching hire situation right. To put that one on the board. We'll talk about the fallout from the big game. Obviously, yeah. Ohio State, Michigan, which Michigan forgot to show up to.
No, it did. It forgot. It forgot in a major way.
And by the way,
in a very major way.
I'm going to clown Bryce Underwood when we get to that story too, because I don't know if you saw the clip of him on the Rich Eisen show where he basically said he was going to destroy Ohio State, and I think he only threw for 86 total yards the entire game.
Yeah, I think
or something.
And I think it was 4 completions or something.
And I think he had 2 interceptions. I think also.
Yeah, he did.
And on top of that,
the second one was worse than the first one.
And on top of that, people were clowning him because of the $12.5 million NIL check, obviously, that he got, which I still think is ridiculous to this day that any college athlete can make that type of money. But
I understand why you think it's ridiculous, but at the very least, though, you think though that there are some benefits to college athletes finally getting compensated.
Yes,
right?
There is, but I don't know about $12.5 million. We'll talk about that. Also, obviously, the Big Ten championship game now being Ohio State versus Indiana. I think this is the most anticipated Big Ten championship game in quite a long time.
Yeah, I think looking back on the history of the title game, this has to be up there, and it hasn't even been played yet. It's probably top 3. It's the first time that I can remember, Nick, that the number 1 and number 2 teams in the nation are playing in the Big Ten championship. Usually you see that in the SEC most years, but it's cool to see that the Big Ten now has the distinction of one versus two. We could talk about obviously that game, and we could even debate a little bit as to our opinion on whether or not College Game Day should have chose that game instead of Alabama Georgia. But I digress.
I mean, that's the other game we're going to talk about too, the SEC championship game, also, which, like you had written messages to me where we're communicating for the show. It seems like this game is just tradition, and it just keeps happening.
It keeps happening every year, and thankfully the chips fell where they may because Texas beat Texas A&M to knock them out of it, and of course Alabama barely beat Auburn, and Georgia beat Georgia Tech. So all the dominoes pretty much fell right into place. So
Also, we'll recap week 13. We took a different approach to this time.
yeah, because we realized last week when we were babbling on and on and on about every single game that we were going a little bit too long. So I think we highlighted 4 or 5 games that were the most noteworthy of the entire week.
Well, we'll talk about Thanksgiving because obviously that was the major holiday that just passed. We'll talk about the triple header. We'll talk about Black Friday, obviously with the Bears being in Black Friday, now being the number 1 seed thanks to the Panthers' win over the Rams. We'll talk a little bit about the Sunday slate. Sunday slate was not great. The matchups were not great.
Not great, but some of those endings though were wild endings.
I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but the Jets, what was it? Jets Falcons in overtime. I mean,
and I don't know how you feel because I know you were on the wrong side of it. But how about my awesome lock of the week pick this week?
Jaguars. That game was a shit show. Like going into it, like
no, it really was. And then it cost a fight. It was a whole thing.
But we'll get into all that. We'll do Thursday Night Football, and then we'll talk about the UFC dropping its first 2 Paramount cards, which caused a lot of controversy.
Huge controversy,
including some fighters coming out on social media saying, "Why wasn't I chosen over these fighters?" Including talking about Patty Pimblett.
Yeah.
Also, which I happen to like. I happen to like Patty Pimblett.
I know you do.
I love the guys that are a little bit I like to call Irish fire a little bit.
Yeah.
So
but
we'll get into
he's the Brit though.
But he's got a little bit of that Irish like
No, he does. He actually is Scottish too a little bit. So he's got some flair to him.
Which I like because I like that he has some personality. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the recap of that RAF with Chandler winning his fight
against Chad Mendes. And we won't have time to touch on this, but one of your favorite UFC fighters is back in action this weekend in Marab. I'm sure you're excited about that.
I am looking forward to that again, actually. Yeah. But all right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the massive elephant in the room, which is Lane Kiffin. And I wrote this purposely this way because of a certain video that came out. So Lane Kiffin points middle finger at Ole Miss by heading to LSU.
I mean, that's essentially what he did. if we really think about it.
So the headlines. Now we knew that there was going to be a lot of speculation of, and he was a hot commodity for a bunch of schools. Now originally it was he could stay at Ole Miss, he could go to LSU, or he could go to Florida. Those were the other 2 choices. Now I think Florida finally became smart and said, we're tired of this shit and we're going to move on from all the drama.
Which they did. And they may have gotten a better coach out of it.
Summerall, right?
Yeah, from Tulane, who's a very good coach. Yeah.
Hey, he got a nice amount of change out of that too.
You sure did.
But so Florida took itself out. That left staying at Ole Miss or going to LSU. And Lane Kiffin has a reputation of not doing things the right way.
Well, and he has a reputation of not following through on his full promise to really any job he's ever had.
So I guess the On3 reporter might not be so wrong with the comment.
No, actually, there's now more people coming out and defending Ben Garrett than I've ever seen. Was he out of line?
Yes.
For that whole thing, sure. But I think his words were validated given what happened in the 48 hours after that.
I mean, so you're talking about the difference between facts and integrity when it comes to a
That
journalist.
that's
Um,
correct. That's correct. I keep trying to envision what I would have done in that situation, and I
not say
still
that.
no. You knowing me, no, I would never say that.
I think that
So
was wrong generically. I thought that was wrong. Like you're a reporter. Your job is to, like, if you see the coach or if you see someone that's involved with the team, you're trying to find out information so you can report on teams, not let your opinions come through. A journalist is not supposed to let their opinions come through.
no. No.
If they're on a reporting sense, they're not supposed to let them come through.
Correct.
So I heard that, and then obviously because Lane can't control himself whatsoever, he goes up to the what's the name of the reporter again?
Ben Garrett.
He goes up to Ben Garrett and basically says, "You called me a hoe. We'll see what happens." Essentially, like it sounded a little bit like a threat, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an odd situation, and then they have to go play the egg ball, which was awkward, right? I mean, what was the outcome of that game? Because I don't remember off the top of my
Ole
head.
Miss killed them. It
Uh,
wasn't close.
but if I remember correctly, all the questions were about him, not about the game, right?
Correct.
So obviously, this situation happens. Then the speculation comes out that he's going to LSU, or he can't decide. He's got to go pray, which is another one that made no sense either. Um, and he's like, "I wish my father was still here so I can make my dude. You're a grown adult. Make a choice. Do you want to stay at Old Miss or do you want to go to LSU?" Now, obviously, now and Nick D and I debated this last night, but LSU's got to be a top 5 job right
It
now,
is.
right?
It is 100%.
And I even said top 3 because it's like it's a school you hear constantly when that job comes open. I don't know. And all the reports you hear that he wanted to stay with Old Miss to finish the CFP run, and then he was going to poach everybody afterwards.
Yeah, the poaching thing is the bad part about it. That's
Right.
one of the well, and then of course, as we know, Pete Golding saves face by staying at Ole Miss and becoming the coach.
Why wouldn't he stay, though? Because that's probably his job going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, now, if I'm not mistaken.
I just love the speech he gave to the team where he's like, "Hey guys, I'm your new coach. Let's not try to let's not try to let's not try to reinvent the wheel here. Let's go out and go on a run." That's basically all he said. Because think about it from a team standpoint. All those guys have gone through so much in the last 3 days where they had no idea what was going on. He couldn't even have the audacity to come in and tell his players that he was leaving to go to LSU. So the best thing for Ole Miss to do was to mitigate the situation and let the players refocus their energy back on football, which is what it should be, and not distractions.
Now, obviously, it's been all over the place that Lane came out and said, "I want to finish the run for the CFP, possibly win a title." Even though I don't think they were ever going to win this title, I think this was Ohio State's title to win or lose at this point.
Yeah, it's Ohio State's title to lose without a doubt. I mean, they're coming in as the defending national champions anyway. So
So, I like, could they have made a decent size run and
they
won a
could have.
game?
They probably could have made it. They probably could have made it to the semifinals, and
But
they still potentially could. That's the thing. It's not like their season is over yet. Their season's far from over.
well,
It's just that he's no longer the coach there anymore.
and that's what's making this situation a lot harder and unprecedented, because I asked you, I said, has there ever been a situation where you have a team that's competing for the CFP and all of a sudden the coach is like, "I'm taking a bigger job at LSU." Like,
As far as I know, no, I've never seen that.
so this was like uncharted territory to accept a big job like this in the middle of a team that's going to make the CFP. They're going to make a run. And Keith Carter, who's the AD at Old Miss, came out and had said, "Look, if you're going to take a job at LSU, we don't want you here anymore." Essentially,
Which, I mean, at that point, what else is he supposed to do other than that? He feels betrayed, right? So,
right? But
um,
you and I were having a little like light debate over the fact of whether he should be able to finish the season. I feel like once you take a job somewhere else, you can't finish the season.
yeah, I mean, I think there's certain instances in certain cases. Some coaches have done that where they do fulfill it. Like for example, Barry Odom, I'm pretty sure last year with UNLV, he coached the Mountain West Championship and the bowl game, and he took the Purdue job. So he was hired at the end of December. So there are some coaches where they will finish it, and then others where they won't. It's just a matter of I don't. There's no what do you call it? There's no like true like unified standard for that where it's the same standard across all instances, which is
But
kind of interesting.
but that wasn't the CFP though.
No,
Like
no, no,
this is
no. I mean, they would have. Well, had they won the Mountain West Championship, they probably would have made the CFP as an at large because Boise State ended up making it, and then they lost to Penn State.
oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
Mhm. So I'm just saying, had a won, we could have had a potential situation a year ago with Barry Odom, but it would have been way less high profile than this is. So
And then the other report, which I didn't understand, and I got annoyed about it last night on the stream, was that the CFP committee is going to penalize Old Miss for Lane Kiffin.
well, it's not that they will, it's that they could. The
How
there's
does
no
that make any sense?
because they for whatever reason, however their notions work, I don't know because I'm not on the committee, but I get all their releases. I mean, in so many words, essentially, they believe this is just from their perspective. I don't particularly agree with it because they've won the games they're supposed to and they played their schedule, but they think because Pete Golding has never coached Ole Miss before, they think for whatever reason, despite them having only one loss going into the CFP as a non-conference title participant, that somehow that's going to hinder their performance in the postseason under a new coach.
So we're making a prediction before he's ever been on the field. And by the way, technically he has been coaching because he's his assistant coach behind
Yeah,
Lane on
yeah.
the field. So this is what annoys me about the CFP committee
And I agree with you. He shouldn't be penalized in any form. I completely agree.
because they're going to say, "Oh, he doesn't have head coaching experience." Last time I checked, the coach does not play the game.
Right. The
The
players.
players play the game. So, say you had if you made a transfer portal move and they brought in a huge name in the middle of the season, you want to penalize them because they're bringing in a player that maybe affects the whole makeup of a team. That's one thing.
That makes perfect sense. You could argue the same thing. Well, couldn't you argue the same thing for a coach mid-season though? I'm not saying this is a mid-season scenario. This is at the end of the season. I'm just saying, what if you had a coaching change mid-season and then they won with that new coach from the mid-season point on? Would it be the same thing as the player example you're trying to describe? Because that's how I understood what you just said.
I don't know if it's the same because, again, it's not like you're reaching out in the middle of nowhere to replace the coach in this scenario. The guy is on your staff. You're just promoting within as an interim coach, so to speak.
Right.
So I don't understand though what they meant by penalizing 4 points or whatever they were saying. Like,
No, so what they're saying is they're penalizing 4 power index points. However, those are measured. I don't fully understand that. Um,
I mean, don't they just vote on the rankings anyway? So who cares about index points?
yeah, I don't know.
But
That's
then,
way and this is coming from someone who covers college football, and even I don't fully understand because they make it so hard to wrap your brain around. It's not that I don't understand it because I don't want to. I'm not choosing to not know about it. It's because I genuinely don't understand
But
it.
my head still spins over what they call good losses or bad wins. Like, my head still spins on that because, again, you play games to win, not lose.
Right.
So that's what bothers me here. But there was, again, this timeline became nuts between. I don't know if you saw the reports that 2 private jets came
I
to
did.
Ole Miss
I did.
to pick up his family. And then there was another report that he basically told his assistants, if you don't come on the plane, you're not coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, a little wild, if you ask me, in that whole scenario.
A little bit. It's a very. I'm just gonna give him a compliment, and I don't mean to divert, but it's on the same topic. I promise. Paul Feinbaum had the perfect description for what this whole situation is. He called Lane Kiffin the Kim Kardashian of college football, and he could not be more correct.
That's great. That actually
You
is
could,
good.
he could not be more correct. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that?
By the way, there's the title for this week's episode.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's a first. Us discussing right then and there where it's a good title of the show would be. But
Lane Kiffin turns into Kim Kardashian on a flight to LSU.
oh my god. That's good. Um but this whole scenario, like, I don't think I've ever seen a coach treated in this type of way or acting in this type of way to say, oh, well, I want this job, but I want to finish my current job. And by the way, I want the ability to take my players and my coaching staff and my head strength guys. And I think he also wanted to he took the GM supposedly from Old
Yeah,
Miss. And
yeah.
I mean, this is not just poaching. This is like that stupid joke in SpongeBob. Where it's like, let's pick up the land and move it somewhere else.
Well, that's
Like,
I mean, that's essentially what Kurt Signetti did. He took over half of his James Madison staff to go to Indiana.
I get it, but I feel like there should be some rules in place that you like if you get a new job, like you can't just pick up the house and move it to another place.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong.
I get like if you brought in like, there should be some exceptions. If you brought in your guys to certain places, then you should be able to decide if you want them. But you shouldn't be able to pick up the house and the furniture and move it to a
Right.
whole nother
Right.
school and say, well, I have all the power. I'm going to do what I want. Now, I don't know what James Franklin did when he went to what school was it? VA
Yeah,
and VA Tech.
Virginia Tech, yeah.
Did he pick up the whole furniture and move it or no?
As far as I know, no. Most of his staff is still at Penn State.
I'm assuming he's probably going to start over, right? So to speak.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. I don't see how Andy Kolenicki leaves as the leaves his OC role because he's been there so long. But I don't know.
Penn
We'll
State's
see.
a bigger job too.
Yeah. The big question is well, not to divert to that, but the big question is well, can you believe this? Jim Knowles went from being on a national championship Ohio State team as a defensive coordinator to the next year being on a 6-6 Penn State team for double the amount of money in the same role. So it'll be
Well,
interesting to see if he stays or if he goes too.
that goes to show that college football is unpredictable every year also, but
No, it's true.
I don't know. This whole situation was crazy. Lane mishandled it. He can take whatever job he wants and do whatever he wants. It's up to him.
Yeah, it's up to him. It's the way he closed the door on the way out.
Yeah, and
It's kind of just said, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
yeah, I mean, and I get it. And the reason I put the middle finger words in here is because fans went to the airport, the private airport, which I don't even know how they got in there, and started flipping him off as he's going on to the private jet to head to LSU.
That was all just theater stuff, in my opinion.
It was kind of dumb, though.
That was like the icing on the cake of the most chaotic 48 hours that I've ever. And again, this is someone who has zero ties to the SEC. To be honest with you, this wasn't a national story I could give to what's about Lane Kiffin in general. But as someone with no dog in the fight, I've just been sitting back having my popcorn ready, and this story continues to get funnier and funnier. But by the day, it's a circus. That's
Yeah,
all. That's
it
all it is.
it it's a complete shit show.
I
And
can almost guarantee you that a certain four-letter network is loving every single second of this.
I'm
They
so
love
glad. Wait a minute. I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to say that too. So what Zain is partially referring to is they were taking Marty Smith and Pete Thamel and running them around like monkeys in a circus.
it.
And at did you see it at the halftime of every game that they were
every,
doing?
every single game on every single ESPN affiliate, regardless of what the game was. It
And
was
I felt
unbelievable.
and I felt really bad for Marty Smith and Pete Thamel, mostly Marty Smith, because I think he was like ready to pass out by the time the West
Right.
Coast game was on.
Doesn't he do the Jets too?
Marty Smith? No, it's Marty Lyons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But Marty Smith, who one of the greater guys at ESPN, that guy has put in more frequent flyer miles as an ESPN guy, like going to all events around the world and covering college football. I think he does a national radio show for ESPN
He
on
does,
the
and
SEC network.
it's a very good show too.
And like that guy, he looked like he was ready to pass out.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh
but
yeah. I'm sure he's just been bombarded.
he was on the day we're recording this. I just saw him on Pat McAfee show. He did like a full 20-30 minute segment. Like, it's amazing how much this guy has energy to run around and cover this. But Marty Smith and Thamel were all over the place. Like, as ESPN has an obsession with the headlines a little too much and not about the games. And I don't know, man. It's just, do I think he's going to be great at LSU? I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I'm curious if he even lasts 2 years.
He
I,
signed a 7-year deal,
I know. I
which
don't even know how long he'll last given his track record.
I thought that was wild, by the way, that he signed a 7-year, a $91 million deal. And this one, which I found insane, LSU must pay 80% of Lane Kiffin's remaining salary if fired without cause.
That is just absurd. That is
Eh,
so absurd.
So the LSU's deal with Kiffin has no mitigation or offset clause if he's fired. So, which means they have to pay him if he gets whacked for any reason.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, but I've never seen such a insane, intense 48 to 72 hours for a college football coach ever.
I haven't either. And I've
So,
followed and/or written about. Well, I've written about college football for fewer years than I've watched it, but I've never seen anything like this in my years of paying attention to it.
yeah. All right. Let's move on to more college football coaching moves. Um,
Where would you like to begin?
victory lap, victory lap, victory lap with Pat Fitzgerald, which people
Yeah.
are probably wondering, like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, I think it was like 2 months ago. I had said, wait, Pat Fitzgerald will get a job at some point. Now, I thought it was going to be outside the Big Ten, but he does get a job back in the Big Ten at Michigan State.
Well,
And
it's being reported. I don't know if the contract is official yet. As of last night, he's still a target. They haven't actually signed a deal yet, but it's looking like it's going to be him. Hang on, let me just double check something.
oh, it does. You're right. So it says they fired Jonathan Smith and they eyed Pat Fitzgerald.
And as of 3 hours ago, Jim Comparoni, who covers Michigan State and does a good job, said two sources tell me that Pat Fitzgerald has signed at Michigan State. It is now a done deal. I'm expecting to see an official press release soon. So it is real. It's happening. Fitz is back in the Big Ten, and ironically enough, it plays where Michigan State plays Fitz's former school in East Lansing next season. That's gonna be a scene.
That's going to
And
be a
they
wild
also
scenario.
they also play Illinois in East Lansing, which gives me an excuse to go back to East Lansing for the first time in a decade. So I'm excited. So
Yeah. And yes, but again, victory lap because I said there's no way he's never going to coach again. Like
for sure, for sure. I think
Northwestern did him dirty. I feel like though a little
no.
bit.
I mean, with all the stuff coming out, they probably did. As crazy as it
And,
sounds.
and by the way, he probably walked away with a nice settlement.
Oh yeah, we'll never know what it is, but I'm sure that if this is his last coaching job, he will be just fine.
I mean, we have no idea what these contract details are at all, but like from what I understand, and I think, how long ago was that firing?
It was 2 years ago, July of
Jeez,
2023.
it's been
Remember
2 years on that
remember
already.
we had Bradley Locker on, formerly of
Yes,
Inside NU, to talk about it.
I liked him. He was a good guy.
Yeah,
But that I just remember how wild that scenario was of everything that was being reported, and then he fought back and ended up winning a settlement because of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, he had like hundreds of millions of dollars on a contract with Northwestern
Oh yeah, because he had just signed. I think it was a 7 or 8 year extension, like a year before
for
that.
a lot of money, a lot of money.
Mhm.
But it doesn't
Although
surprise.
he wasn't making good on well, like my theory is even without all the stuff that happened to him, he probably was going to get fired at some point anyway because going 4-20 in the Big Ten over the course of 2 seasons is just
Not good.
laughable. So my thought process was before he was ousted out of there that if they sucked in 23 that he was gonna that he was gonna get fired at the end of the 23 season. That was my initial thought.
So you
But
think he would have been fired for bad performance anyway?
yes, 100%. Because that team that went to a bowl game in David Braun's interim coach year had no business going to a bowl game. They were just resilient. That's why they did it.
But I think it's a good hire for Michigan State, and Pat
I,
Fitzgerald definitely
I,
deserves another
I think so too.
opportunity.
It's
Uh,
actually, it's their first, as someone who used to follow Michigan State religiously, it's the first competent coach they've hired since Mark D'Antonio.
Man,
So,
that's a blast from the past a little bit.
yeah, Mark D'Antonio has not been in college football in a long time. But yes,
All right, where else do you want to go on this coaching moves list?
you want to talk about Bob Chesney looking like he's going to go to UCLA.
I First of all, why would anyone want to go to UCLA right now?
That's my first question. I mean, they're a circus itself. They had
Unless
that
unless it's kind of like I want a big name job so I can use it to bounce off of.
probably because he's yet to have that big break in college football yet. So this is his opportunity to do it.
So
Oh, by the way, and we haven't spoken about this. I don't mean to divert, but your new favorite team, BYU, it looks like their coach might be getting poached to go coach Penn State. Is the big rumor, which would be so stupid. He's literally built BYU from nothing. Why would he leave?
why would you go to Penn State at a time where there's a Tasmanian devil destroying everything over there? Like,
No, I know.
and there's storms over there. Why would you go there? Stay at BYU where you have the chance to build something and be bigger.
Yeah, and you have a chance to go to the playoff.
I mean, I don't know what Penn State's not going to be able to pull a big name at this point because
You don't think so? Not even Brian Hartline?
I I don't think so because why would anyone touch that program right now? They're in purgatory.
People would touch it because of its. I think they would touch it because it's a brand and that's it. That's what they would. That's.
But
what they would do.
is that enough of a reason for a big name to go there? A brand alone,
Yeah, I would say so.
even if they're not going to win.
Yeah, I would say so because then whoever goes there can say, "Oh, I coached Penn State." But in this "What have you done for me lately" business, I don't know if that will fly.
I mean, go ask James Franklin how his tenure ended.
I mean, at this point, they might as well just hire Terry Smith because clearly he's shown that he can win with them.
I mean, he already knows the franchise or
Yeah, yeah,
the team, I should say, but
yeah.
it feels like a franchise because of the way they're treating it with NIL and money. But
No, I know.
um, I would just keep Terry Smith because he knows what he was already the head assistant
Yeah,
under James Franklin.
and the Penn State fan base wants him.
So I like the fact that he's a little bit tough on the players too, because maybe it keeps them in line. And the shirts thing made no sense whatsoever when they did that weird walkout thing,
Yeah,
whatever it said on the shirts.
yeah, that was weird.
But I guess that was more of a chemistry builder type thing,
Yeah,
probably.
and probably to rebuild themselves because they were going through such turmoil when he was fired. It was a way for them to come together, probably.
It makes sense. Who else was on the list? Stoops was also on the list, getting fired by
Yeah,
Kentucky.
Mark Stoops. Yeah, I mean, complete disaster. He was disaster at the end, but to be fair, though, he was the winningest coach in the history of the program. Took them to, I think, 6 consecutive bowl appearances from, I think, 17 to 23 or somewhere in there. Just a really bad recruiter and a guy who just, for whatever reason, they would lose the same games every year. He was never held accountable for losses. He'd always say things would get better and they wouldn't. His I don't even follow Kentucky, but every Mark Stoops uh, press conference I've ever seen was literally a carbon copy of the week before. At least every loss was the same song and dance every time they lost. So it was time for them to move on. And hopefully they can get it. Hopefully they can get a better coach because they have not been relevant in a long time. At
Nick
least for a
D.
couple.
Nick D had a really funny comment when I dropped that news in the FP5 section on our Slack channel.
Okay.
And he said, I guess he couldn't reach Kentucky's high standard of 6 wins.
Yeah, because that's literally what their standard is.
That's I don't know. Is that warranted? Is it not warranted? Or
I mean, for him to say that he's not wrong. I mean, some schools are honestly just okay with 6 wins because 6 wins is the guaranteed minimum to go to a bowl game every year.
any other moves? Because I have another piece of college football news, which I don't know if you know about
Oh,
currently.
I guess that's a. I mean, since you said it, let's just segue into it.
So NC State and Virginia are going to be playing in Brazil next season.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It'll be the first ever FBS college football game to be played in South America. Now, does this have anything to do with the NFL really tracking out into international waters and
I don't
playing
know.
in games, or
I don't know. I don't know.
uh, or are they trying? Is it a money thing? Maybe that they're going to play in Brazil.
Potentially that, and they're probably seeing the success of the Ireland games and saying, "Hey, we can maybe do something interesting with."
So the game's on August 29th.
Yeah,
That's the preseason, right?
which is week 0, yeah. Yeah. So
So they
this might open the college football season. This might be the first game.
instead of the Ireland game.
Well, no,
Uh,
I'm saying in conjunction with it. These would open the season. Because there's already an Ireland game scheduled this coming season, I'm pretty sure. I don't
okay, it
remember.
says the matchup will count toward the ACC standings.
Right, because these are 2 ACC teams, so that makes sense.
They're playing 9 games next year. We talked about that already.
Mhm.
And an ESPN network will broadcast the game dubbed College Football Brazil, organized by college sports revenue generation company Athlete Advantage. Oh, so there's some money behind this.
Oh yeah. What I don't understand is people aren't clamoring to see this game. I mean, Virginia's in the ACC championship game, so that's an early sell, but I don't think anyone is jumping out of their seats to see that.
Well, as you said,
Unless you go to either school or an alumnus of either school.
so this also says that the NC State Virginia game will be played on the same day as the North Carolina TCU matchup in Dublin.
Yeah, okay, so it will be the same day. Okay.
marking the 5th consecutive edition of the was it R Lingus? Is that how you say it?
Our Lingus College Football Series, right?
The
Yeah,
classic. Yeah.
Our Lingus College Football Classic. Yeah.
So apparently there's more coming. It says this summer Michigan explored moving its 2026 season opener against Western Michigan from Ann Arbor to Frankfurt, Germany,
But they decided against it.
but they decided against it. Um, the Holiday Bowl, traditionally an ACC Pac-12 matchup, annually played in San Diego, considered moving this upcoming postseason game
To
to Saudi Arabia, but it did not follow through with the proposal.
which people were furious about. People
I
were
think
so pissed.
I think that has to do more with political stuff than
Yeah,
anything.
I think so too.
But we'll see how that plays out. All right, moving on. Let's talk about fallout from the game. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan forgot to show up.
Yeah, Michigan forgot to show up. This was one of the picks I lost. I thought Michigan would go in and cover at least, and they did not show up against
Like,
a
badly.
very. I'm after seeing Ohio State in person once this year, I can tell you firsthand that to me they are the best team in the country, and it's not even close.
What are they, 12-0 now?
Yeah, it'll be cool because what we're about to talk about next is Ohio State's an opponent. And speaking of undefeated stakes, there's undefeated stakes in that one for sure.
But this game was like, I don't know what happened. Michigan's offense did not show up whatsoever. Bryce Underwood looked awful. 86.
Well, no, it looked good early. The first couple series, it looked like they were going to go down the field and score a couple times, and they couldn't do it.
Right, but the stats, because like I mentioned at the top of the show, like Underwood goes on the Rich Eisen show and says he's going to completely beat the crap essentially out of Ohio State and doesn't come close.
Yeah, he'll have 2 more chances to do it, because he'll probably declare for the draft before his senior year would be my guess. So at least he'll have 2 more opportunities to do it. One in Ann Arbor and one in Columbus.
But here's the thing I don't get. So this rivalry is insane. Like quite literally insane and crazy.
Well, insane in a good way though, right? Because it's good theater and pageantry and the whole mystique of it, or are you going
the theater and pageantry is one thing. I don't know from a game perspective if it's fully entertaining though, but
most of the games are pretty good. This one was kind of a downer though, because about one side.
This was the first time in 4 years Ohio State has beat Michigan, right?
Correct. Yes.
So,
and if Michigan had won, it would have been their longest winning streak in the rivalry since the 20s, since the 1920s.
I think you and I have discussed this before. I always thought, because you kept asking me, you thought, can Ohio State win? And I kept saying, I think Ohio State is just a moons above level better than Michigan.
And you were right. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith played, and they both played really well. And you know what I think changed the game was the Jershon Barnum penalty, where he should have been disqualified. I mean, that was an obvious headbutt, and the officials got it wrong.
Yeah.
You should have clearly been disqualified. I think that's the moment that turned the game in favor of Ohio State, to where Michigan had no shot. What did you?
No, I agree with you. I think that changed the whole game. Like, first of all, in any sport, penalties change the whole game because it changes the momentum of a game. But I think Bryce, just after the first quarter, not showing up really hurt them.
Not really. It's his inexperience showing through too. That's part of it.
But by the way, and this goes back to my point of the NIL situation where he's making $12.5 million, like for that NIL check. Like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid.
I mean, you have support from the Ellisons, support from Portnoy, support from other alumni that we probably don't even know about. And then you have all the Michigan fans too.
I don't know. I just think the money is ridiculous. I'm not saying that they shouldn't get paid, but a freshman should not be making $12.5 million in NIL money going to school.
Right.
And now, I'm not saying that's the direct reason that they lost the game. I think Ohio State's defense is the best in the nation.
Ohio State's defense is far and above the best in the country. It's not even close.
So I think that was the first time Bryce Underwood really got to see like a super defense, so to speak.
Well, it doesn't help when 2 weeks before, you turn the ball over 5 times against a very okay Northwestern team and still win. That doesn't help either.
And that goes to my point. Like, is Bryce Underwood really worth the $12.5 million investment in that regard?
Well, next year we're going to find out, because if it doesn't go well next year, he might be looking at another school, because clearly something isn't working and they need to fix it. Because let me tell you this:
okay?
if they get the Citrus Bowl, which is the same bowl that Illinois got this past year, and they get a good SEC team, they're done. Season's over. They won't unless he plays his ass off in the bowl game. There's no way they're beating a good SEC team.
Was he considered a high prospect that warranted that money?
Nick, he wasn't just considered a high prospect. He was the number 1 recruit in the nation.
But $12.5 million, though?
Well, considering that he was a 5-star quarterback with 3 consecutive state championships in the state of Michigan and 3,000 yards a season, yeah, probably.
No, I get that, but that's like the whole AAA versus Major League Baseball. Like when you bring someone up from the minors and then they get completely lost when they go up to the professional level. Like,
right.
Playing state football is way different than playing college football on the national level.
Right. And luckily, he was playing on the best team in Michigan the entire time. So.
Well, right. But I don't know. But Ohio State completely battered Michigan in every way, shape, or form. And then you have fans like Portnoy who almost couldn't handle it after the fact that the game was over.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I don't know. I was telling Nick the other night when we were doing the show that I feel like Michigan fans are a little obnoxious.
Oh, they are. I don't know if you know this, Nick, but Ohio State fans, they don't say Ann Arbor. They call Michigan arrogant assholes is what they call them.
I've heard that before. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but
there's even a pure Michigan parody. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, that I haven't seen.
Everything is around the theme of the arrogant assholes theme in the.
But Michigan fans kind of remind me of Cowboys fans.
They really are. They were, and this is no disrespect to you because you don't fall in this category, but they remind me of Cowboys fans. They remind me of Lakers fans, and they also remind me of Yankees fans too.
Yeah, I could see that actually a little bit because some Yankee fans are outrageous at times.
Where they treat their baseball team as the gospel, right?
Yeah. Oh God, I've seen Yankee fans where they have the full shrines of every it's kind of nuts. But Cowboys fans are like that too. But I don't know. I just think Michigan fans are some of the most obnoxious human beings in the entire world because they think that they're better than everybody else.
I would argue a similar sentiment could be made for Ohio State, too. They're just as obnoxious, I would say.
I think that's why the rivalry probably works, because their fans go after one another. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't a few fights break out in that game, too?
Yeah, there were fights during the game, and there were fights in the stands, too, I think.
Fans are weird, man. Like, when they go to the games, I get it, but they're a little weird. But speaking of, you brought up the Big Ten Championship. This is probably the most anticipated Big Ten championship game in quite a long time.
Yeah, it's literally number 1 versus number 2 in the country. A combined 24-0 between both programs. Heisman Trophy stakes potentially. Julian Zain on one side, Fernando Mendoza on the other. You've got Jeremiah Smith potentially in the running too. It should be very exciting.
Have you ever seen a game that has been this anticipated at this high of a level?
For a Big Ten championship game?
Yeah.
No way. This is like I'm going to say this: if you have a ticket or if you were lucky enough to cover it, like you got to cherish this moment forever because this may not happen for a long time.
Now, I think Ohio State is just too good, and I think they'll find a way to win the game in some way, shape, or form.
I think so too. I think it'll be very close though, as long as Indiana shows up, which clearly they have. I mean, they've been one of the best teams all year. So
I'm kind of curious to see if there are any lines out for it yet.
Yeah, is it out or is it not out according to our friends at Novig?
I'm checking right now to see if I can
what do you think, Nick, of the game being in Indianapolis and it being a de facto home game for the Hoosiers?
I mean, will that help them slightly to stay in the game? Yeah, because being in your home state. And by the way, Ohio State is an early, as of this recording, 5.5 point favorite.
That's probably about right. It's probably
Over
about
under
right.
48.5.
I think the over could hit, but it may be easier said than done.
I just think the defense of Ohio State might smother Indiana for the first time. They haven't seen a great defense like that all year.
They haven't seen a great defense like that since Notre Dame, and Notre Dame kicked their ass.
Ugh, Notre Dame. That's a whole nother issue. But I think Ohio State wins this game, even if it's close. They're going to eke this out because I think the defense wins championships, as they say.
Yeah, I think Ohio State wins too. You'll get a deeper preview from me on Friday's episode of Bando's Breakdowns, and you may even get a very special announcement regarding in this game anyway. So stay tuned. I'm keeping that on the down low for now, but let's just say it could end up being a very, very interesting weekend, if you will.
All I can say is this guy travels more than I've ever traveled, like frequent flyer miles wise. So
Thank you.
I don't.
That's too kind of a compliment. Most of my travels are road trips, but I'll take the compliment any day of the week. Thanks, I appreciate it.
When you get to the end of seasons, you travel more for those type of things. But
no, I do. Thankfully, this is only a couple hours away from me, though. It's only like 3. So,
well, speaking of other games, we'll do this quick, because then we got to get to football.
Down in Atlanta too. It's almost a de facto home game for the Bulldogs.
Now this is just random. It's random, right? That it happens to be in Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta every year.
Well, I'm just saying it's happenstance that it happens to be Georgia.
Yes.
Like there's no they didn't plan that. Is what I'm getting at.
No.
This is going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game. Now Alabama is not as good as it once was. Obviously,
no, but it's clear that it's figuring it out. People wanted Kalen DeBoer's head on this time a year ago, and now he's like saved. Ace, are you impressed with Alabama's turnaround after losing to Florida State?
He's doing better. I mean, I heard rumors that he's up for possible jobs. I thought I heard also.
Yeah, that's true.
I heard Penn State. Penn State was one of those places I had heard.
Yeah,
I think that's walking into Pandora's box if you go to Penn State.
Yeah, and I'm sure when he talks to reporters this week, he's gonna deny all rumors, any and all rumors going into the SEC championship game.
No, I'm not going to talk about it. Unlike Lane Kiffin, who talks about everything. This is going to be a really good game. I think Georgia pulls this one out. I think they're the better team.
Oh, you like Georgia? See, I like Bama. I think Ty Simpson makes enough plays to get it done, and I think Carson Beck is going to struggle a little bit, or not Carson Beck, Gunnar Stockton. I had Carson Beck because he was on the Bulldogs last year. He's on Miami now, which Miami is a whole different story. But,
the controversy going on in Miami.
Yeah, yeah. There's a ton of controversy going on in Miami. There's a ton of controversy going on with the ACC, which we won't get to right now. But I just think Ty Simpson is a much better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton, and I think defensively, Alabama's linebackers should be able to get after him. But hey, if Gunnar Stockton makes enough plays and they have the ball with a couple minutes to go, whoever has I'm going to tell you this: we may disagree on our predictions for this, but I'm going to give you a guarantee. Whoever has the ball last is going to win the game.
So you think it's going to be that type of game?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be like an epic, like 33-30, 27-20 overtime thriller, like a game that people won't forget for quite some time. Yeah.
As of this recording, Georgia is a 2.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I could see Bama covering that even if they lose by 1.
Over under 47.5 as of this recording.
I like the under. I think the defenses are going to show out. That's what I think.
I think the under could hit on that. Yeah.
SEC football is a hard hitting beast. I'm not saying the Big Ten isn't, but to me, I think SEC defense is taking it a little bit more seriously. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. We took a lot of time on that, so we got to move through these. All right, let's recap Week 13. We're not going to give you every game. We are going to give you the games that we think count every week. So quickly, we'll go through Thanksgiving. This was a record. 3 underdogs winning on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, which luckily I hit on one of them, which I was surprised.
I
hit on
hit
the
on the same. I hit 1 out of 3, and it was an under.
yeah.
Um,
But
what's
yeah, I
going
mean,
on with the Lions?
starting with the Packers game, yeah, Packers in Detroit. I don't
What's
know,
going on
man.
with the Lions?
I think they're just a mess.
I mean,
I,
Jordan Love
I think they're sleepwalking the last couple weeks. To be honest with you, barely
and just
beating the Giants. This game was terrible. You lose to Minnesota at home. Like some of the last few games have not been good from a Detroit standpoint.
and Dan Campbell taking over the play calling duties has been a nightmare since
Yeah,
he's been doing it.
that's been even
Um,
worse.
but Jordan Love throws for 4 touchdowns. It was a close game, 31-24. But this,
But it really wasn't because the Packers were ahead for most of it.
yeah, the score really didn't indicate how the game really went. But I don't know. The Lions are in trouble, I think, in some way, shape, or form. They're 7-5. The Packers are 8-3-1. I think the Packers are finally coming around. Finally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say this now, and we'll get to the game in a second. But I think, and tell me if you think I'm crazy. I think the winners of the Bears and Packers games is going to end up winning the NFC North.
Well, they have 2 games against the Packers in 3 weeks, right?
Yes, they do.
So if they split those, because I think that's what's going to end up happening, probably. Because usually
I think so too. Hint, hint. I think the split happens where the Bears win in Chicago and the Packers win up there. That's kind of my hunch at the
yeah,
moment. Yeah,
yeah, I agree. If they
yeah,
split, I still think Chicago has the better record anyway.
yeah. They do.
So
And the tie hurts Green Bay
yes,
from how I understand it. So
well, because they have the tie on their record too. So
right.
that's going to hurt them. But so the Packers win. The Lions have a bad game again. Then Chiefs Cowboys, which nobody expected 59 points to be scored in this game.
I just think Dallas is playing really well. I think they finally have their mojo. I think that Eagles game really helped them. And I mean, Nick, I don't usually give you credit like this, but hey, I gotta give it to you. I think your take from I don't know, late September, early October, where you said that Kansas City might not make the playoffs. I think this loss further validates that potentially.
And a lot of energy put into that last drive because it looked like Mahomes was going to drive down the field. Again, they just don't have the same offensive threats and magic that they did.
Well, no, and well, it doesn't help when you have an aging Travis Kelsey too, can
Oh
barely.
God, Travis Kelce can't move for shit at
I
all.
know,
Like,
I know,
and
I know.
because Travis Kelce was that weapon for Mahomes, and now it just doesn't work anymore. And they don't have any other weapons that are a real threat. They can't run the football, but Checo does and doesn't. He gets hurt, and the Cowboys just look like the better team. Even though I don't trust the Cowboys to win in the playoffs whatsoever, but Dak looked pretty good. CeeDee Lamb's got to stop dropping passes, which
You
almost
mean
cost them the game.
you mean CD Butterfinger Lambs, if you
Yeah,
will? Yeah.
essentially, yeah. George Pickens has been an unbelievable pickup
By the
for the
way, he gave an unbelievable interview to Scott Graham of Westwood One before
yeah,
they played the Chiefs. He's a very well spoken guy. Very,
yeah.
very well spoken. Seems very happy in Dallas. It was a very insightful interview.
They got to
Was
sign
really
him. They got to sign him big time.
yeah,
They
I
got to
think
find a way. And
I
Jerry better not play the cheap game because George Pickens will walk and go somewhere else.
well, right. And he knows that if he signs there with a max contract, he might overtake CD Lamb as the uh as the higher of the two fan favorites in Dallas.
But at
So
least George Pickens catches the football when it's
right.
thrown to him.
And he was
CeeDee
good
Lamb,
and he was good in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just wasted his services, which made no sense.
and also CeeDee Lamb kind of reminds me a little bit of Terrell Owens with the amount of drops. Like,
Yeah, at least he doesn't have the personality like T.O. does.
oh
But
God,
yeah,
T.O.'s on a whole nother. Well, him and
Chad
Ocho.
Ocho
Yeah,
Cinco.
Yeah. Oof.
I was going to
Oh,
say Chad Ochocinco, and then another one, Nick, who didn't make it was David Boston.
no, that's another one. Speaking of Chad Ochocinco, we'll talk about the Bengals. Bengals, Ravens. Oi, with the Ravens. I mean,
I just don't think the Ravens are good. Period. I don't think
the
they're. I don't
Ravens
think
are done, in my opinion. They're going to get. I think this game eliminated them from
I
going
mean,
to the playoffs.
do we really think Pittsburgh just wins a crappy AFC North and doesn't do anything?
Yeah, but who would have thought coming into this season that Baltimore was going to be 6-6? The Bengals are going to be 4-8.
Well, Pittsburgh's also 6-6.
No, but I'm just saying, like Pittsburgh was not like massively massive. Like everyone thought that the Ravens were going to win 13 games this year,
Yeah,
and everyone thought the Bengals were going to win 10 games
yeah.
this year.
Because people thought Burrow wouldn't get hurt. That's
Yeah.
why.
I think I said when we did the previews that I don't think Burrow was going to stay healthy, and I thought they were going to finish under 500. Well,
I mean, it looks like it, and it looks like it might very well happen.
so I don't know. The 3 underdogs winning on Thanksgiving.
who do the Bengals have left to finish the year?
Let's take a look. So they had. Oh, they're going to Buffalo. They're going to get crushed, I think. Even though Buffalo's not playing great, but it's a much better matchup though.
Well,
Joe
if
Burrow.
there's a time for the Bills to start playing well, it started this past Sunday. That's for sure.
That's for damn sure. Then they play.
Because if they had lost to Pittsburgh, Nick, I would have been very concerned.
Right. So they play Buffalo. Oh, they're playing Baltimore again, actually.
Okay.
So they're playing Buffalo at Buffalo, then they're home for Baltimore.
I'm going to make a bold prediction and say the Ravens are so bad that the Bengals might sweep them.
I think that I don't think you're wrong either. I think first of all, if Baltimore loses again, I think they're completely out. Completely out.
I think so too.
Then they're on the road to Miami. Actually, the back end of their schedule is Miami, Arizona, and Cleveland. I mean, if they don't win all 3 of those games, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Some other games quickly to look at here. Obviously, the Black Friday game, Bears, Eagles. They're playing much better. Obviously, they win 9 out of 10. The Eagles are a dysfunctional mess right now, currently. Jalen Hurts looks lost out there. Obviously, you have the whole situation with Brown going on there. It seems like they finally got on the same page where he caught a few passes, but Saquon looks either hurt or defective right now the last couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears are playing good football. I still think that they need to play games that are not sweats going in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But this game was a little deceiving on the score. But the Bears are the number 1 overall seed. You can't really fight it because that's what the numbers tell you.
No, you can't. And it seems like Ben Johnson has a winning formula. I mean, just the locker room transition from the last year at this time, a dysfunctional mess, to where it is now, 9 of 10 games with still so much in front. I mean, they have 4 or 5 games left.
The Bears.
Yeah, is it 5? Is it? I think it's 6 though. I think it's 6 games.
1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay. I mean, hey, even if the Bears win 3 of those games, that's still a very good year, and you're still getting a pretty good seed in the playoffs.
They have a tough stretch, except for Cleveland. They have the 2 games against Green Bay. Then they go on the road to San Francisco, and then they play Detroit at home.
Well, I think they'll win the Lions game. They'll split the 2 Green Bay games, and they'll lose to San Francisco, and they'll beat Cleveland.
Yeah, but I just think it's a tough stretch for them. But we'll see what happens. But all in all, Chicago played a good game, even though, like, Grant and I were talking on Slack, like, after the game, where he said I should have locked it, and I'm like, slow down.
I know. I mean, there's a reason why I didn't lock it, and now I wish I would have took the under, because I didn't realize how rough that game was going to play out.
I think I had an over on that game. Yeah, I had an over on that
Mhm.
game. I was expecting it to be a little more of an offensive shootout, but
We both did. We both did the same play.
and so I was surprised that only 39 points total were scored in the game. But um, we'll see what happens. I'm looking through just quickly because I had some other games. Um, Not that I put this one in, but briefly, Texans Colts. People are a little surprised by that outcome.
Mhm.
Now Daniel Jones is hurt and somehow played through what was the injury he had again? Um, I'm trying.
Was it his foot? I don't remember.
No. But you also had Sauce who had got hurt during the game, also, which doesn't surprise me. He had the fibula injury,
Okay.
which for Daniel Jones, which hurts. It's very
Yeah.
painful. Um, People are concerned about the Colts whether they might miss the playoffs, depending because now being 8-4, but we'll see how that plays. I think the most shocking game of the entire slate, if I had to pick one, was Rams Panthers.
Oh, no
Obviously,
doubt. Think the Panthers were actually good. I mean, I didn't think so a couple weeks ago after they beat
seven and
Green Bay,
six.
but I think they're decent. And with the way Tampa Bay has been a little bit stuttery, that NFC South is going to be very interesting at the end of the year. I think.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the first times I've ever seen Stafford throw 2 or 3 picks and have a fumble in
Yeah,
a game.
he did not play well. That's one of the reasons why not our league, but a different league I'm in. That's one of the reasons why I didn't win this week was because he played bad. That's why. So
And then I guess just 2 more games, and then we'll move on from here. Bills Steelers. Steelers are a disappointment, big time. Aaron
mhm.
Rodgers got hurt. He basically got punched in the nose, and it started bleeding. Um, I don't know. Pittsburgh's run might be over.
Yeah, I think it probably is. And as I just alluded to a second ago, no better time to be playing good football if you are the Buffalo Bills than right now, and they certainly did all that and then some. So
I mean, the Bills are going to be fighting the Pats the entire way for that number one seed, so to
yeah, for
speak.
the AFC East, yeah.
And then finally, just because this game was way closer than it should have been, Broncos Commanders. What a wild and wacky ending of that game.
Yeah, unbelievable is a great way to describe it. The Broncos, well, first off, and you probably agree, should have never gone to overtime to begin with.
No, no, not even close. It shouldn't have gone to an overtime game.
But I thought we had life because it looked like Denver was going to cover. And then,
Well, the touchdown, yeah, but
well, yeah, with that touchdown, and then you had the pass interference, which was unbelievable. Not saying unbelievable that the refs got it wrong because they got it totally right, but the lack of self awareness on that was unreal. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, that was bad. I mean, and I'm surprised they went for two. Also at the end there,
Well, because they probably thought that I don't know if they thought that they could drive the length of the field with Mariota one more time. That's probably what they
but I
thought.
just think it's a massive risk there. Like, because you're either gonna win or you're gonna lose. There's no gray area there.
Correct. Yep.
But
But yeah, again, Denver escapes 10-2. 10-2 is still 10-2. I don't know though, Nick. I'm a little bit skeptical with this Denver team that they haven't really been tested quite
they have
yet.
a really good defense. That's really like their staple of their team. Bo Nix still needs a little more seasoning heading into the playoffs. Um, I think who was it? Chris Collinsworth, I think, who said that he needs to be put in more pressure situations.
Correct. Yes.
And I agree. If they really want a chance, their defense is going to win them games, especially in the playoffs. Because with Pat Surtain finally back, also that's a big deal. It makes their defense a lot healthier, and they don't have to stretch as much. So I think that helps the Broncos, hopefully, going forward.
Yep. I
Okay.
think that's a nice cap for week 13.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, we'll talk about Thursday Night Football odds, and we'll wrap it up with some UFC. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey fans, Novig is here to change the way you play. Available right now in 35 states, Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. It's 10 times more profitable than traditional sports books because there's no house edge. Instead, you're playing against other fans just like you. Novig is also the only free exchange, which means you get to keep every dollar you win, whether you're putting down plays on the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, college sports, or even UFC and tennis. Novig gives you the power to pick the best odds or set your own. Sign up today with the promo code ETB Network, and you'll get 1,000 Novig coins plus $5 in Novig cash, and special bonuses like spending $5 and getting $50. Novig, where fans play smarter. You must be 21 years or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Empty the Bench is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience, from playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show. All right, welcome back. Time to talk some Thursday night football. ETB Sports Odds presented by Novig. Let's check it out. Cowboys at the Lions. Lions are a 3.5 point favorite, over under 53.5.
We lost again on our last Thursday night pick the last time we were on. We keep having bad luck with these Thursday night games where they just aren't going either of our ways. It's very disappointing. We lost on the Bills Texans, if you remember, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, actually, well, yeah, that was the other week where we were technically, for this show's purposes, we won in the Patriots game, but we lost overall for the forecast side of things. But nonetheless, though, it's a fresh week. Detroit and Dallas. What's your early read on it?
Yeah, so this game is odd, just obviously because the Lions coming off just another poor performance against the Packers. The Cowboys are actually playing decent football, which I never thought I'd be saying.
Yeah, they're 3-2 in their last 5 games.
I'm tempted to lean in the Cowboys' direction slightly because of how bad the Lions have been playing. I don't know. I'm struggling with this one. The number seems kind of high on the total a little bit.
I think so too. So I want to pick a team. You know, if you're going to back Dallas, I'll back Dallas too to cover the number.
Yeah, I like Dallas. I just think they're playing better football.
And if you think about it, Nick, it's in a dome stadium, so home or away, it doesn't matter. It's essentially a de facto neutral site game. It's just where it is. It's in Detroit.
I just think
there's no impact.
I just think Dallas is playing better football right now than the Lions are, and they're just losing games on fundamentals, like big time right now. So
if Detroit doesn't get out to an early lead, it'll be a long day, and I think Dallas could either cover or win outright. I could see it being a field goal game too.
Yeah, I agree. The hook doesn't really scare me in this scenario whatsoever. So I think Dallas finds a way to cover the number. All right, quickly, last topic. UFC drops first 2 Paramount cards. Lot of controversy here,
especially with the first card. So just to briefly mention it, because I know we're running very short. So let me go through this. So obviously no more pay-per-view, but the UFC sticking with the numbered events theme. January 24th is the first card, main and co-main event, respectively. Interim lightweight championship, which has a lot of asterisks attached to it. Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje, and then the co-main event, which got a lot of flack for its placement, is Amanda Nunes' return to the UFC to try to win her bantamweight title back against Kayla Harrison in Kayla Harrison's first title defense. So those are the main 2 fights on that. And then the other one, which hasn't fully been announced yet, like as a complete card, is UFC 325 the next week in Australia. That is Alexander Volkanovski rematching Diego Lopez, which if you want a full debate on that, go check out the last episode of the MMA Outsiders because Jack Gold and I passionately disagreed with each other as to why the UFC made the rematch instead of making a fresh matchup for Volk. But given that you are kind of a UFC outsider here and I'm more of the expert type, what are your early thoughts on these two cards? And then I'll give my brief 2 cents, and then we can call it a day for a very packed show. How does that sound?
Yeah. So it is an interim title bout, right?
Correct. And the winner will fight Ilya Taporia. Yes.
Right. So obviously, because Taporia has the personal issues going on right now.
He's divorced right now. That's why.
And you and I had a discussion about this slightly, that I feel like there should be rules in place that it's not fair to Gaethje or Pimblett as the main fight, that they don't get a title out of this.
Well, no, they do. They would just be the interim champion and not the official champion.
But I'm saying I don't think that's right, considering he's going to be out for quite a long period of time.
It's supposed to be out by this summer is when he would come back.
It's a long time, too. Yeah. But I just don't think it's fair, considering that all the work they're putting in and they're just getting an interim title, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Now the Amanda Nunes Kayla Harrison thing goes all the way back to what does that go back to again? Because I remember the controversy that happened between the two of them.
Well, no, that goes back to the fact that Nunes retired 2 years ago, and Kayla Harrison was in the PFL at the time, and Kayla Harrison called out Amanda Nunes that if Amanda Nunes ever came back, that she guaranteed victory against her, and now they're finally fighting.
That was the TV clip on social media, right? Where she was watching it on TV, and then they made a clip out of it?
Correct, yes.
That was kind of an odd moment. Obviously O'Malley on this card, who I don't trust for shit whatsoever. I think he's. I could see him getting knocked down all over again for the third straight time.
Probably a lot of people would like to see that.
I mean, me included. I think he's just a pompous asshole, to be quite honest. But the rest, most of them, I don't know. The rest of the people on the card,
it's all right. It happens. That's what the MMA Outsiders is for. Again, another plug.
So, but the top 3 fights I know right away. It would be kind of cool to see Amanda Nunes back in the winner's circle again.
That would be cool to see her be champion again. Yeah.
And I want to see Pimblett win, like in the worst way. I just think he deserves an opportunity. Who was the one that wrote the tweet though, saying that they didn't get the fight?
Armand Tarzukian is the one who's upset.
Man, he went off on Dana and the UFC and everything.
He's livid. He has every right to be livid though, because he had the title shot against Islam. He injured his back the day before, so they pulled him. Then he sat out for a while to get healthy. Then he just dominated Dan Hooker 2 weeks ago or 11 days ago, whenever it was. And now he's not being given the title shot after the UFC contradicted themselves and said they would, and then they went back on it. So,
but I feel like that happens a lot with the UFC, right? They say things and then they don't follow through.
It happens quite often, yes.
And then Dana tries to get super defensive every time someone calls him out. Mm-hmm. Also, but no, I think these are going to be good. I think Patty getting a chance on the spotlight in the main fight is going to be interesting because he likes to run his mouth more than most fighters do. He reminds me a little bit of Conor, except without the bad behavior a little bit.
Yeah, he's very similar in that regard. You're not wrong.
And then what was the other stuff? You were going to talk a little bit about the RAF stuff.
Yeah, so just a brief note, and you can keep the banner up, but
yeah.
Michael Chandler won over the weekend in Chicago at Real American Freestyle over Chad Mendez. Didn't call out Conor McGregor, but essentially said that according to people he knows that the fight is basically on and that McGregor's already started camp. So
he did. Yeah.
So who knows if that means anything at all in terms of like a verbal agreement, but good to see Chandler active and yeah, we'll see what happens, but that's kind of all I have for that.
I kind of felt bad for your guy though. Clay Guida a little bit. Losing an 11-0 technical knockout?
Technical decision.
Kind of felt bad for him a little bit.
Yeah, it was not a good night.
And then I don't remember if there's anything else that some of the interviews you did, if any of those fights came out, but no, I mean, I think Chandler McGregor is definitely a lock for the White House card. If it's not, I'd be surprised. Anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, we covered a ton of bases on this show, and it was definitely a fun time, without a doubt.
Yeah, so make sure you go follow us. Well, obviously, at the end of episode 297, make sure you follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I almost said Facebook, and we're not on there anymore.
It happened. Okay.
Follow the Empty the Bench network across all social media platforms at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, to find this show amongst all our other shows that we offer as well. Listen to Empty the Bench wherever you get your podcasts, and all our network stuff across our platforms on Acast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of other audio platforms as well. Also, Empty the Bench presented by Playback. Make sure you check us out on that platform as we're doing NBA streams, MLB streams, NFL Red Zone streams, and amongst all our other exclusive podcasts that are done on that platform as well. Including myself and Callan doing Press Row, you doing Zanzinger Part 2, amongst other shows that we simulcast to Twitch and Kick and other YouTube channels as well. So make sure you check that out. Okay. Anything else you want to say before we sign it off for the day?
I don't think so, but happy December, everyone. Looking forward to the final few shows, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, happy December. 2 shows left before the network goes on the break for the final 2 weeks for the holiday. And we'll be back the week of January 5th for a new year, 2026. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to a full year of us doing the show. So,
yeah, absolutely.
For Zain Bando, I'm Nick Morgasen. This has been episode 297. Have a good day, everybody. We will see you next week.
Have a good one.